Well, good evening or good afternoon or good morning. I don't know where you are. That's the beauty of Zoom. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you to Leslie and to Susan for allowing me to present our company, but also a great itinerary to you today. My name is Sebastien Leroy, or as we say here, is more Sebastien Leroy, but I'm from France originally. From Normandy, so northwestern France, and I am talking to you today not from Salzburg, like it looks like behind me, but from Naples, Florida. I'm a cruise manager with AmaWaterways. I'm also a business development manager with AmaWaterways, which means that I support our travel advisor, travel partners here in Florida. And it's always a great pleasure to be able to talk about our cruise ships, about our company, which turns 20 years old this year. I mean, in 100 days, actually, we will be 20 years old. So let's talk a little bit about the Rhine, about AmaWaterways, about our beautiful ships. So that's I think a great view, a great way to start and to have a look at the exterior of our river cruise ships. We have 25 of them operating between different continents. They are not all, they don't have all the same size, but when you look here, that's what I like to call the AmaWaterways world as of now, because we are always trying to expand, to create new itineraries. So if you look for now, in Europe, we are present in Portugal, and if we go from west to east, Portugal on the Douro River, 3 itineraries or 3 regions, better said, in France. This part here, which is Normandy. So if you see here, Le Havre, that's where I'm from. So beautiful cruise on the Seine River. We have the Bordeaux area with the Dordogne River, the Garonne River, and the Gironde estuary. And then we have the Rhone area. And here, the river, the Rhone actually takes a sharp right, now going, actually it takes a sharp left because it's coming from the Alps and going south. And then what continues here is the Saône River, so that goes through Burgundy. Then we change countries, so we have here a very, very, very famous river, which we will talk about much more in detail today, the Rhine River. Then you have these 2 little ones that are also absolutely beautiful. And before the question comes, because the question always comes, what's your favorite? I don't have a favorite because they really are all different. I mean, I've done about 150, 160 cruises with AmaWaterways, and I like them all in a different way. But these ones are also, with the Rhine, they're very special because what most of the Rhine, not many people don't know them. I mean, when you talk about these rivers, they're like, where? But they're very interesting. Then the Main-Danube Canal, very small here, but that's where you have Nuremberg, and it goes from Bamberg to the Danube here, river, and it enters just upstream of Regensburg, and the Danube that goes all the way. So you see, it could go to the Black Sea. We don't go to the Black Sea. We stop here in Giurgiu. So that's a beautiful area of the world. Then you see that we're present on the Mekong. So that's paused at the moment because the Vietnam and Cambodia have not really completely restarted their operations due to COVID. And I mean, if we are far ahead of the curve, they are still far behind. So we look at starting our operation here in August. Then in Africa, so between Botswana, Namibia, and Zimbabwe here, we have the Chobe River with the Zambezi Queen. So on this river, there's only 1 ship, which is ours, but the size is very, very different because you saw on the past picture that's our typical European cruise ship with a capacity of 156 guests. The Zambezi Queen only has a capacity of 28 guests, so it's completely different. And there's also only 1 ship, as I said, on that river. And then the newest addition to the fleet, to the itineraries, is Egypt. So Egypt So 7 nights, pretty much like any other itinerary on the ship, but also 4 nights in Cairo. And we will talk about, of course, all the pre and post extensions that we can have, the land extensions that we add, or that you can add. You can combine it with your cruise. And the ones in Egypt are actually very interesting, because you can do a pre-extension in Dubai, or also a pre-extension in Jordan, in Amman and in Petra, and then a post-extension in Israel. But let's talk about the company a little bit. I just mentioned to you, we will turn 20 very, very soon. And the beauty, I think, AmaWaterways was created in 2002 by these, I would say, 2 families, because Rudy, our CEO, and Christine are married. They were not at the time. Gary, as you can see here, Rudy and Christine have written co-founder. Gary here has written co-owner, because his dad actually was, Jimmy Murphy, was the 3rd founder of the company. But the great thing, I believe, is that after 20 years, we still have the same 2 families basically leading us. And they've done a great job leading us through these two past very interesting years, I would say. Now, just a few pictures for you to see how or what you can expect when you will arrive on board the ship on the Rhine. So that's the lobby. That's really the first view, and that's when you enter the ship, you arrive, and that's what you would see first. Very sleek design. The idea of our ships, we want everything to be very, very nice, but we want people to feel comfortable. We want people to feel like at home. And you will see in the staterooms, and the staterooms, we have different size, we have different categories of stateroom, but that's the one that I'm showing now here is really the typical size. That's the majority, the major category that we have on the ship. So that's 210 square feet. And as you can see, you have what we call a twin balcony. So we have a French balcony right here, which is pretty much a sliding window. And this one, which is a real step out balcony, which is very nice if you want to relax, or if you want to, I mean, sometimes it can be cool when you're, the ship is cruising and you want to relax a little bit, but not necessarily be in your bed, or you don't want to be in the lounge. You can relax and you see the world go by. That's a very nice way to relax, but you can also go on the sun deck, of course. Just a few things about our staterooms. All of them, as you can see, are equipped with Mac, which are can be used as your TV. They also can be used as your computer, and you also have complimentary Wi-Fi on board the ship. And we have, so you can connect basically up to 3 devices. So you can bring 3 devices, and you have free Wi-Fi on board the ship. The Wi-Fi is of excellent quality, really excellent. I mean, we spent between 2018 and 2019, we spent more money in our Wi-Fi infrastructure throughout Europe than we spent in diesel. And when you think that we have a fleet of 25 cruise ships that are operating about 40 weeks a year, that's quite some diesel that is going through there. So spending more money in Wi-Fi to make sure that our guests have the best possible, that speaks volumes, in my opinion. We also have, of course, I'm talking about the Wi-Fi, but we also have a My Ama Cruise app, which is great. It's an app that we created a few years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, and it's really developing. At the beginning, it was more for people to be able to send virtual postcards, or to be able to really allow their friends. I mean, I know, for example, that when my wife's father was on the cruise, we would be able to check where he was. I mean, he would send us, and then we would see exactly where he was on the river. And it has developed. I mean, that was at the beginning, but now you can do, you always have, when you go on cruises, guest satisfaction surveys. You can have the possibility to choose your tours from the app. It's really practical. It reduces the amount of paper that is used. I mean, we've always been very much in favor of sustainability, and this has truly helped reduce the quantity of paper that is used on board. Because again, if you have 150 guests every week, let's say that you will have 130 or 140, You multiply that by 20 ships because 5 of them have less, and you multiply that number again by 40, 45 weeks every year, and you think that 10 or 15 pieces of paper per guest are saved, that accumulates. Now, talking about the food, so the food is something very special at AmaWaterways. I would like to start by saying that, because you see Chef Pablo on the side, our chefs are absolutely amazing people. They work only with fresh products. We do not use anything frozen. We even have our own bakers on board. So the bread is baked, croissant, everything is baked fresh every day. And if you don't know, when you're on the cruise, if for some reason some night you don't know what to do at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I can tell you that you will see the baker working in the restaurant. And the beauty of having everything fresh is more so that we can really accommodate pretty much any dietary request. The only dietary request that we could not accommodate is a real 100% kosher diet, because that would require pretty much another galley for us. But for all the rest, any type of allergies, we can absolutely accommodate that. Something very important as well. You see, for example, here, that it looks like a buffet, but it's not used by the guests. Everything is served, so the service is done at the table. That's for really the crew to use if you would like to have, as you can see here, for example, a cheese plate or something. This will be served. So that's our main dining room. We do not have only one dining room on board the ships. We have 2 of them. Second one is called the Chef's Table restaurant. And as you can see here, I wrote intimate dining with a view because it's in the aft of the ship, and it's only for 28 guests. So it's if you travel with a group of friends, that's perfect, because you can go there, reserve if the group is big enough, 20, 25 people, you can reserve the Chef's Table for one night, and you have this restaurant for yourself. And what you see here on the top right, that's a kitchen. So it's a live cooking venue. You have so it's what we would call a tasting menu that you have there. So this means that you will get 5 different courses, but each course is composed of 3 mini courses, and that's a wine paired dinner. So there is no extra cost for that. Everything that I'm telling you now and that I've told you so far is included in your cruise fare. I can tell you really quickly what is not included, because that will make it much easier. So what is not included in the cruise fare? When you go to Susan, or when you go to Leslie and say, okay, I'm sold, I want to go. What is not included? The gratuities, but they're not in the base price. But if you want the gratuities for the crew, if you want to include them, you have the possibility to do so. Why are they not included? Because Rudy, our CEO, doesn't want to force people. Like when you go on an ocean liner and you have a line item on the credit card, and that's what you have to pay. We believe that the gratuities aspect is really something that reflects your satisfaction toward the service, and that's why he wants to leave that to the guests. That's the reason why. Then you will see that when you're on board our ships, we have a spa and a hairdresser salon. So the services in the spa and in the hairdresser salon are not included in the base price. And the last thing is, of course, the shop, but also if you would like to have a drink at the bar after dinner, if you want a cognac or something like that, that would not be included. The rest is. So if we talk about wine, if we talk about beer, soft drinks, etc., all this is included at lunch, it's included at dinner, and you will see that we do not have a house wine. We change the wines every day. These are local wines. So based on where you are cruising, and especially on the Rhine, you will go through quite a few different wine regions. And we have the local wines. And plus, we never wanted to have a house wine because the real issue with a house wine is that if you don't like it on day 1, you are very unlikely to like it on day 5 of the cruise. So champagne is included at breakfast. You have every day before dinner. And I'm not saying from 6 to 7, because you will see that when you're on the cruise, the dinner times change every day based on the return time of the excursions. Why is that? Simply because if you are, for example, on a tour during that cruise and you come back from Heidelberg, you will come back to the ship around 6:45. So if we tell you, hey, so you've been gone for about 6 hours, 7 hours, and you have about 15 minutes to get ready to go to dinner, not sure that you will enjoy that very much. So that's why we leave. We have this 1 hour, which we call sip and sail, which is always between the return time of the tour and the dinner time. And dinner time, I always like to say, we always, if we say the restaurant opens, it doesn't mean that you have to rush in the restaurant to be there exactly at that time when it comes to the main dining room. The chef's table, it's a little bit different since it's a menu with courses. But when you're in the main dining room, even if the restaurant opens at 7 o'clock, if you want to come in at 8, it's perfectly fine. So enough about the food for now. Talking about the air very quickly. If you want to work with Susan or with Leslie on getting the air through us, this is absolutely possible. We can quote anything. We have very competitive rates. We can quote you in economy, in premium economy, in business. That's absolutely no problem. We work with a lot of gateways from the United States and Canada, and also. If you book the air with us, you will also have all the transfers included. And for me, the main reason why I wish more people would use the air, I mean, I think at the moment we have about 40% of our guests who use the air offer. It's more, and that's more the cruise manager talking. I've seen one time, it was 2013. And in 2013, if you remember, you had this huge volcanic eruption in Iceland, which really disrupted the air traffic between Europe and North America. And I saw, because I was on the ship in Amsterdam disembarking my guests. And so first of all, since nobody could move in and out, we kept the guests on board. But I saw firsthand what the difference was between the people who had the air with us, because we take care of rerouting everybody. You have to worry about nothing. Versus people who did not have the air with us. And then that's where the difficulties can start, especially in a situation like this, where you have like pretty much 300, 400,000 people a day who want to travel. And you try to call Delta Airlines or American, and it's simply impossible. So it is really for your comfort. If you want to quote that, feel free to do so. We can even work with you on miles, etc. It's really a great program. Now, getting back to the ship and to the excursion. So I mentioned a few minutes ago what was not included. And if you noticed, I did not talk about the excursion, because all excursions are included. Meaning, and I really want to insist on all excursions are included, because many times you will have other friendly competitors who will say, oh, you have one excursion included at every port. Well, that's wonderful, but if you're in a port for a day, or let's take the example in your case, that would be Rüdesheim, which is a beautiful village. We will see it in a few seconds, and you have the possibility to take a tour, a gondola ride in the afternoon, then continue with a wine tasting, and then in the evening to go to a mechanical music instrument museum, or even to go for a Rüdesheim, a coffee. We include all of them. If you want to do the three, do the three. Some others, or many others, actually don't. Also, what you see here, there is a lot of different excursions that are offered. And we have, of course, bike tours, hikes, and then the walking tours. We understand as well that not everybody walks at the same pace. And we want everybody to enjoy at their own pace. So that's why we have gentle walkers, we have regular walkers, we have active walkers. And I've seen it many times where people would come to me and say, well, I have one lady in mind all the time. And so I'm not going today because I don't want to slow down everyone. And my answer was always the same. You are going, you paid like everybody, and we have a gentle walkers group. So people who go on the gentle walkers group know that it will be at a more gentle pace. So you pay to enjoy. And that's really, really important for us. We want everybody to take their time or to be faster. If you want to enjoy more free time, then the active walkers group is for you. The active walker doesn't mean that you will be running a marathon. Active walker means that the guide will be with you and that you will have the information given to you on the go. There are no stops. But if you cover the same distance with no stops, automatically you will have more free time. Now you see as well that there are late riser tours. So that's in cities where we stay the entire day. Like for example, on your itinerary would be like Strasbourg. And when we stay the entire day, usually the tours will start around 9 a.m. But in that case, there is a late riser if you want to sleep in, and it starts at 10 or 10:15. So really a lot of possibilities. And if you don't want to go on the tour, again, and they're all included, but you're also on vacation. If someday you decide that you just want to enjoy the ship is open. It's your house for 8 days. So enjoy. If you want to grab a bike and explore the area on your own, feel free to do so. The only thing we ask our guests when they do that is to come back before the ship leaves. And I know that, I mean, many or maybe a few of you are laughing now because it sounds very obvious, but trust me, we've after a lot of years in this industry, I've seen a lot of things that would be obvious for some and that are not necessarily for others. So that's why I precise it. Last but not least, our wellness program. So we have a wellness host on board each and every one of our ships. And we have a program, again, included, so with different classes throughout the day, starting usually in the morning around 6:30. So the wellness host will have 3 classes in a row there. One could be like a morning stretching, then it would be followed by core strengthening, could be an introduction to yoga, as you can see here. And then you have classes throughout the day for those of you who, for example, don't want to go on a tour. If you don't go on tour, doesn't mean that you should have nothing offered. So if the ship is docked, our wellness host could take you on an active walk. If the ship is not docked, well, you could be on the sun deck doing either a TheraBand class with Victor. You could be Victor is the one on the right. The gentleman here, Andre, he specializes in Zumba classes. So I mean, there's really a lot that you could do, and you can even use the wellness host as your personal fitness host, because we have the gym and we have a fitness center, and they can give also one-on-one classes based, I mean, depending on the schedule that they have. Now, I just made a little something. Not exactly. Yeah, it's Swiss Alps. I just wanted to start with the itinerary. You know that on each and every one of our cruises, or if you don't know, I'm telling to you now, we have pre and post extensions, pre and post land extension. When you arrive on this trip, you will arrive in Zurich. That's the possibility. We offer 2 nights in Zurich and 2 nights in Lucerne. Pre-cruise. So just one thing that I want to precise on this, since we are talking about July, the likelihood of seeing the snow like you see it on this picture is very, very low. But it's still a beautiful area. Lake Lucerne is absolutely superb. The city is absolutely wonderful. So what you see here in the front, that's this tower here, that's the National Museum, the train station, and our hotel, the Schweizerhof, is right here, where you have this wonderful Swiss flag, and then you have the main district, the main shopping district, the main pedestrian area is right there. So you just walk out. You have wonderful restaurants. You can go to the main church. You can even, if you want, walk up there. I did that. It's a very narrow staircase, but you can go up there and have a wonderful view on the city. So what happens when you arrive? You will be welcomed at the hotel by the cruise manager. The cruise manager with AmaWaterways is there from the moment you arrive until the moment you leave at the other end of the trip, not only of the cruise. There is a welcome cocktail in the evening, and then the next morning you have a city tour that is offered to you. There is then some free time in the afternoon, and we tell you also, we give you some very nice, if you want them, very nice restaurant recommendations. I mean, little restaurants in this area of town here. You have a lot. You have pedestrian areas with wonderful little places to eat. And then the next day we will have a tour that would take you to the Rhine Falls, which are the tallest falls actually in Europe, about 100 feet tall. Absolutely superb. Another view of Zurich by night. So 2 nights there, and then the next day we transfer from Zurich to my favorite, which is Lucerne. Lucerne is absolutely wonderful. As you can see, really a lot of very mountainous. You have Mount Pilatus, you have Mount Rigi. So this one is Mount Rigi right there. It's a great little town. Absolutely beautiful, medieval. Food absolutely amazing. The color, that's not even photoshopped. That's the real color of the water when you're there. And so on the left, basically, you have Lake. So in English, the easy name is called Lake Lucerne. The real name of the lake is Vierwaldstättersee. It's an amazing place, and we will take you on a tour. You have the possibility to go on the city wall, because basically behind from the place this picture is taken, you have a complete medieval city wall where you can walk along. You can go to Pilatus or even to Rigi, to the top. So really a great time that you spend there, and also amazing restaurants. I mean, I can tell you that you have the Fish there or the Swiss Fondue House in this place. And even in July, you would think, okay, that's maybe not the time to eat a cheese fondue. I don't agree. I mean, it's probably 10,000 calories, but when you're up there, you don't care. I mean, it's absolutely the tastiest food you will ever have in this area of the world. Another view on Lucerne with the Chapel Bridge. And it's a really interesting bridge, because you have at each pillar that you see there is an icon, and all these icons retrace actually the history of the city of Lucerne. Absolutely wonderful. And then you go to Basel, and Basel is where you will embark the ship, and then you will start your cruise. So from Basel, you will see major cities like Strasbourg. I mentioned Strasbourg a few minutes ago. Very, very interesting town, very interesting people, simply because Strasbourg, Alsace as a region, as you may know, has changed nationality just in the 20th century, or let's say from the end of the 19th century until nowadays. It has changed nationality 5 times, between French, German, and then French again. And people there, if you ask them if they're French or if they're German, they will tell you that they are Alsatians. Wonderful architecture, a lot of red stone. You will see the red stone, so the sandstone, as they call it there, Sandstein. Why is it red? Because of the concentration in iron in the stone. And then the iron oxidates, and that's what gives this rusty red color. You spend a full day in this beautiful town. It has a lot of canals, as you can see. It's very green. It's absolutely wonderful. Another city after that has a lot of sandstone, once again, is Heidelberg, very famous, of course, for the chateau, for the castle, which houses, by the way, the largest wine barrel or wine barrels in the world. So it's 220,000 liters for the biggest one of them. So I think we're talking approximately 65,000 gallons for one barrel. And you will get to see that it's the history of this is absolutely incredible. The history also of the University of Heidelberg, the University of the Bridge that you have here, of the Philosopher's Path. And just being along the Neckar River, that's not the Rhine, by the way. We take you by bus there. It takes about 40 minutes from the ship. The ship is in Mannheim or in Ludwigshafen, and you drive for 40 minutes. And it's a great. I love these 40 minutes, because the guides will give you already an introduction on what made Heidelberg famous. Why is the University of Heidelberg famous? I mean, and the castle itself. So you really have an introduction so that you can really enjoy the sights when you're there. First part of the visit on the chateau, you come down, have a visit of the town, and then you have enough free time. What we want to make sure is that our guests always have free time to enjoy the city, to maybe enjoy a coffee, or a little, in July, a spritze. So that's pretty much a white wine with some sparkling water in there, very, very refreshing. And then you come back to the ship and everybody is happy. Then you continue to Rüdesheim. So Rüdesheim, you're back on the Rhine River. And Rüdesheim is a superb city. So you have, that's the spot. So this spot here is the widest part of the Rhine. At this spot, the Rhine is approximately 1 mile wide before entering the Rhine Gorge. But Rüdesheim, wonderful, very, very famous for the wine, very famous for the wine tastings. And what you see here is really how we do it. The gentleman who is in the middle here, he's a winemaker. And he takes care of our guests with his team, of course, but he's always there. And we go in his fields and you have a wine tasting. You walk through the field. So he has different stations. So it's not only drinking and not doing anything. You really walk through the field. And then, as I mentioned, after that, you have the possibility to take a gondola ride that goes all the way up here, where you have a view on the entire valley, which is absolutely beautiful. And you have also some free time, and you stay there in the evening. So I know that everything is included on the ship, but if you decide that you would like to have a dinner out, for example, that's a great place to do that. Then we continue in the Rhine Gorge. You will have the private visit of a medieval castle, Lahneck, being the one that we use the most. We have another one, Stolzenfels, which is just actually opposite to it on the river. It's a really beautiful, and the way we do that is that we try to show you these castles by night. So, and they lit by candles only, and that's very important. We want to do that because we want you to see how these castles were lit where there was no electricity, and that's really even the approach, the arrival to the castle is lit by candles. It's really nice. And here, a view on the Rhine Gorge, of course. And when you will cruise through the Rhine Gorge, you have 26 castles that you will see, castles and ruins. But even the ruins look pretty good, that you will see. So all of them are built between the 11th actually century, because the Pfalz-Grafenstein here is one of the oldest with the Marksburg. And it's really absolutely amazing to see these castles left and right for 3 hours, pretty much every 5, 6, 7 minutes, you will see a new castle. And then you arrive in Cologne. And in Cologne, so it's not that I want to push for alcohol consumption, but Cologne is very famous for the Kölsch. So the Kölsch beer, and actually these folks here have the Kölsch glass. So it's a very thin, very, very narrow glass. And you think that you drink a lot when you finish this glass so quickly, but it's just because there is almost no content in there. But of course, you're at the foot of the cathedral, and the beauty of being there is really that you see them walking here. The ship, from where they are, the ship is located 50 yards, 80 yards. So you're really in the heart of the action. If you want to go to Cologne City, and of course the tour will take you to visit the Cathedral of Cologne and the most important medieval area of town. But the great thing is that you can go then for free, for some free time, and really enjoy the town, and not worrying about having to go 30 minutes one way and then 30 minutes back. That's not the case at all. And then, yeah, the Rhine River. So that's how the Rhine looks like when you're cruising most of the upper part of the Rhine. When you arrive, of course, in the Netherlands, that's a little different because it's called Le Plat Pays. So Le Plat Pays means the flatland. And when you arrive in the city like Amsterdam, you will not be on the Rhine anymore. We have to take a canal, which is called the Amsterdam Rhine Canal. So they did not search too long for naming this one. And we arrive in Amsterdam. The ship is docked in the heart of the city once again, and you will have the full day to discover this city. And the way you will discover it is with the boats, because you have to go under these bridges, because all throughout the city, the bridges are not higher than that. So you have these very flat boats, and we have our private ones, and they take you through the different grachten, so the different canals. You will have the possibility to discover also the floating flower market. If you want to use in your free time to visit maybe the Rijksmuseum or the Van Gogh Museum, or we will show you Rembrandt's mill, where he came and painted a lot. so really a great trip and a great way to finish the cruise. And then if you want to stay longer, there is a post extension in Amsterdam where you can stay 2 extra nights in a beautiful hotel, the Sofitel, the Grand, which is beautiful because it's in an old monastery. And what you will see there, and it's very interesting to me, is that when you look at all these houses, and of course they might look modern because the windows have been changed, but the construct itself is, for most of them here, is from the 17th century. So all the houses there are at least 350 years old. And that's why it might look like it. I mean, you might think of, yeah, but his picture is not great because the houses don't look straight. No, it's not a picture. They are not straight. So that's because Amsterdam is built on sand, and so it's pumped. It's basically reclaimed land, and that's why, even though the foundations are really solid, and the Dutch people are absolutely amazing at reinforcing it all the time. After a while, after 300 years, some of the houses are really not straight, and when you're facing them, you will get to see that. Now, I put the contact of Susan because I did not have the complete contact from Leslie, but that's the same. If you're interested in joining them,